calling this meeting to order at 7:05.
Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the West Hills Neighborhood Council and the Environment Committee meeting. Today is Monday, March 4th, 2019.
No,
I'm sorry, 2019.
it's not March 4th.
It's March 8th.
It's not March, it's May.
It's May.
May 8th. Wow.
It's May 8th. I'm reading something that was given to me.
I'm not responsible. I was just reading.
I'm just reading it.
I thought we went back in time.
Yeah, no. So this is well, let's see, we don't have 1, 2, 3, 4, no, I have to worry about that.
Are you on this committee?
Okay, my name is Steve Randall. I'm the co-chair of this committee along with Alec Zemick, who is seated to my right. During tonight's meeting, we'll be discussing the items that are listed on the meeting's agenda. There are copies of the agenda for your use on the table in front of Alec. The agenda contains a list of items that we will be discussing during tonight's meeting. We will proceed with each item in numerical order. And that's that. I want to say, in addition, the agenda contains a list of the items that we will be discussing during tonight's meeting. We will proceed with each agenda item in numerical order. Before we make a decision on any item, members of the public will be provided the opportunity to comment on the item that we are considering. In order for you to speak and to be heard on any agenda item, you will be called on by me when it is your turn to speak. In order for me to know that you want to speak, please raise your hand as we're not using speaker cards tonight. Each person will be allowed 2 minutes for their comment. Comments that are made during the public comment period on non-agenda items, we are restricted and prohibited from engaging you. And we can only accept your comment if it's something that you would like to see on a future agenda. We will consider that as the next agenda is prepared. If you have a public comment on an agenda item, again, you are limited to 2 minutes, and we can respond to you at our discretion. When a person is speaking, they are entitled to courtesy and respect. There should not be any other discussion occurring in the room. If you want to chat with your neighbor, please take that discussion outside while the meeting is in session. We will treat one another with respect during this meeting. That means we act with civility and decorum. We do not boo or hiss when disagreeing with somebody's point of view. Any competing viewpoints may be articulated without the need for inappropriate or uncivil actions. Lastly, please silence your cell phones. I have removal for disruption notices, but I'm not going to put them on because it's not necessary. Okay, so let's move on to the agenda. We have established a quorum. We have four members, so we have a quorum. We are going to skip the approval of April minutes because we do not have them available, and we will deal with that at our next meeting in June. Sure.
However, the video of the full meeting is available on YouTube under WHNC Environment Committee. I just didn't complete the write-up notes, so the video is available if you want to look at it.
Comments from the co-chairs? I don't have any comments. You have any comments?
Yes, I have an announcement. The Los Angeles Regional Water Quality Control Board is having a meeting tomorrow, Thursday, May 9th at 9 o'clock. And they will be covering this item that I'm going to introduce here in a moment, and it's in Agoura Hills. And the item that they're going to get to is they say would be about 1 o'clock, is an informational update on the 2018-2019 storm season data from Bowling, Sanderson, and the Field Laboratory, the Woolsey fire impacts and water quality data. So this is important for the two reasons. One is we had a major storm season which will test the cleanup system that Boeing has in place, but also we want to find out if there's any impacts from the fire. So I am planning on going to this meeting myself, and probably in a day or so after that, I'll just issue a brief summary to everybody of what I heard, and then I would suspect that they're going to post their presentation online.
Thank you very much, that would be very helpful. So let's move on to new business. Sky Valley Volunteers, represented here by John Luker, is going to make a presentation for us.
Well, this is going to be a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Thanks everybody for letting me come back and see you guys again. I think I've done variations on this presentation at least twice before. But more than anything, this will be an update to let you guys know what we've been up to for the last about 6 months or so. Now, this presentation is what Wendy and I have been asked to give to the Oak Park School District. The Resource Conservation District of the Santa Monica Mountains had an educational outreach thing. The scientists they normally use was busy and couldn't do this. They asked my partner Wendy if she could do it, and she said we come as a team, so we're both giving this presentation. I gave this thing 3 times yesterday. The first group, the first time I gave it was a bunch of kindergartners. I tell you what, it killed me, man. It's like we can entertain first graders, third graders, fifth graders. It was great. Anyway, the play starts. Could you kill that for me? Thank you. The presentation starts with me saying, has anyone here changed the world? Raise a show of hands. How many of you guys have changed the world? Good. Okay, that's awesome. So have we. And we're doing it on an ongoing basis, and we are trying to get people like you to come out and help us. The Resource Conservation District of the Santa Monica Mountains promotes land stewardship and resource conservation through ecological research, habitat restoration, and environmental education. Put in another way, the Sky Valley Volunteers is a ragtag group of mismatched misfits fighting insurmountable odds against the forces of evil in order to save the world. Pretty much the same mission statement when it comes right down to it. Anyway, these are the two organizations that we're representing when we talk to the school district. I'm actually getting paid for these presentations. It's shocking. The first time I've been paid for anything related to this. I get $100 through all this, man. 7 shows, no waiting. Okay, how do we change the world? Okay, see these things? What do you guys think these are? No. These are oak trees, every last one of them. Now, we go through a process. It's a 4-step process. It's real simple. You collect acorns, you germinate them, and you plant them. First 3 stages. This is what they look like after they've been in a refrigerator for 3 months in a false winter. Put them in wet soil in a baggie, and they go berserko. The thing you see down below is the root, and that little thing there is an oak tree. The kids go nuts when they get to see this. How's that? Can you see it? Awesome. That's pretty cool. Anyway, right now we've got about 900 of these things ready to go into the ground. These are what comes out of those acorns after about 4 or 5 months. We planted this one at the beginning of January on stuff that we collected in December. And all the stuff we put in the ground comes out of this stock. We try to, and I think I was telling you guys earlier, we try to use stock that is genetically appropriate for that area. Like you don't want to take acorns from Topanga Canyon where it's really wet and foggy and put them in the valley someplace where it's hot and dry, and vice versa. So we've collected acorns from Orchid Ranch. Orchid Ranch has been very cool. Robert Baker, the guy that runs the maintenance department for this side of the valley, he really helped us get plots at the community garden, and you'll see the pictures of the shade house that we built. Now the fourth step is community. You got to get people together to do the work. When we started this thing, we made a bet. Okay, the bet is there's enough people out here who've got a willingness to come out and help. Okay, so far I have not seen a turnout like this. This is the third time I've set up a volunteer service organization, and this one, the quality of people we're getting come out, the way they care, the way they get along with each other is just remarkable. That group of people down there is pretty much most of our board of directors and some of our maintenance crew. We've got about 15 to 20 people that are hardcore that rotate in and out, and we're always looking for more people. Those people put in about 120 man hours to build that shade house over there. That shade house is our base of operations. It is in West Hills. We are a West Hills operation. Dan told me that I should come up with a letterhead with the Orchid Ranch address on it. Our overflow house is in West Hills. In fact, the only thing that's not in West Hills right now is my place with the trailer on it. But like I say, we are West Hills oriented, and we're trying really hard to set up a native garden and a volunteer crew specific to Dayton Canyon, and that's where the neighborhood councils come in. So, how will planting trees help the environment? Now, this is where I get into talking to first and second graders, so I'll just breeze through this stuff because you guys can probably figure it out pretty easily. The big thing about these things is each and every one of them is a little carbon dioxide scrubbing machine. It takes carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and puts oxygen back in. We need that badly. The best time to plant trees is 40 years ago and today. So the idea, I already presented to you guys about the shotwell borer, so you guys know that these little saplings aren't attacked by those bugs. And they only attack mature trees. It'll take 25 years for that thing to get big enough to get attacked by the bugs. And maybe that'll give us enough time for researchers at UC Riverside to come up with control methods. In any case, shade, cool temperatures. They hold soil in place. They provide food and shelter for wildlife and people. It's about 15 to 20 degrees cooler in the shade of an oak tree than it is out in the sun. Someone once told me that if you sit with your back to the trunk of an oak tree, it'll cure whatever's wrong with you. And if you think about it, you're inside a big oxygen-producing bubble, so it's like a hyperbaric chamber. Sometimes you get in there and you can taste the clean air. Okay, wildlife depend on oak trees. See the cute little wood rat? Oh, he's so cute. He lives underneath oak trees, and he eats bugs and acorns, and they collect things. And up in the top of the oak tree, there lives red-tailed hawks and Cooper's hawks. So living in an oak tree is a lot like having a big apartment building and a supermarket in the same place. It's like the rats eat the acorns, the hawks eat the rats. It's beautiful. Deer love eating these things. In fact, when we plant these things, we put cages underneath them and on top of them, underneath to keep the gophers away from them. We learned that lesson badly last year. And then we found we were putting chicken wire cages on top and getting cuts all over ourselves in the process. And then we discovered the dollar store sells little waste baskets made in China. You can turn upside down and they make marvelous little cages. So if you go up to Sage Ranch, just walk around from the upper parking lot, you can see all the little cages over there. It makes it really easy to tell where they're at. Acorn woodpeckers, you guys will love them. See how they create holes for acorns? They create a granary tree. Each tree is owned by that family of woodpeckers, and other woodpeckers don't come around. And they can literally kill a tree, drilling holes in it like that to store their acorns. They also drill holes so that they can live in it. Blue jays are some of my favorite birds. I've got 8 oak trees on my property that has a big canopy. And when these guys show up during the acorn season, they have fights with the squirrels over the acorns. And it's funny because these things will walk in and go, okay, where's the food? And the squirrels start chattering at them, and they go, "Oh yeah, what are you gonna do? Come on, bring it on, try to catch me. Let's see what you can do." It's really pretty funny. They can actually move and store as many as 4,500 acorns apiece during the season. I've seen them stuff their neck full of these damn things until they're like bulging, and they'll go out and spit them out in the ground around where the trees are, and some of them will sprout. They actually go out and they'll plant trees sometimes. Who else needs trees? Look at this guy. Well, one of the things we're doing with the kids, and this is like, you know, this is pretty elementary school level, but do you have a favorite tree friend? But even adults can get into this. I have tree friends. That tree is a good friend of mine. When I've had bad times, I go and I talk to that tree, and you know what? He listens. He doesn't talk back. You know, he doesn't give me any lip, and he lets me yell and scream if I want to, and it's okay. You know, and
Do they
that.
lock you up afterwards?
Excuse me?
Do they lock you up afterwards?
No, not at all. Only when they start talking back to me. You know, that's only happened a couple of times, and the medication takes care of a lot of problems.
I'm glad to know.
In any case, but that place, not only is it beautiful, it's also quiet. And human beings need places like this to retreat to every once in a while. I don't know where you guys go when you're stressed, but I go sit under an oak tree and I feel better. You know, this whole project, you cannot plant those things without feeling good about yourself. And that's one of the big reasons why people stay on. I think there's at least 7 or 8 people in our crew that are doing this for therapeutic reasons more than anything else.
John, are
Yes.
you aware that there is a 300-year-old oak tree out by New Hall, out there, the area?
Okay, yeah.
Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Or you're not aware?
There's probably a bunch of them actually.
With a gigantic canopy.
Uh-huh. How big is it? You know? Well, is this the one that they wanted to move? And
Well, I couldn't tell you that,
Internet.
but I shot a movie out there, and I had to do a scene, and we picked that oak tree to be the location. It's supposed to be a poacher's camp, and it was a day when an El Nino came in, and the production manager calls me and says, "There's an El Nino coming in. Do you still want to shoot?" I had 18 actors.
Of course.
And then I realized that the location had this gigantic canopy, and I was hoping it would act like an umbrella, and it did.
Awesome.
Okay, and I said, "Yeah, let's shoot. Just go get some 1x12. We'll build our own sidewalks and
Sure.
and that's what we did. I didn't know if you knew that that was out there.
It,
Huge,
there
gigantic.
there are dozens
New
of
Hall
trees.
Farm and Land.
Yeah, there's dozens of trees like that in the Santa Monicas and a few of them around here. 300 years old trees. They tell me the coast live oaks grow for 100 years, they live for 100 years, and they die for 100 years. 300 years
This
is about
gigantic, and
300 years is about their average
when I was
lifespan.
scouting, they told me it was a 300-year-old oak tree.
Makes sense. There's one in Orchid Ranch that's 800 years old,
Wow.
and it is ginormous. You know, by the time they get to be about 300 years old, usually they've got some rot in the trunk that won't stop. It's
Oh,
like
it's a great
cancer, the
location,
thing
that's
falls
all I
apart,
know.
right? Oh yeah, it's great. In fact, we try to plant just at the outside of the drip line of existing trees on the north side where it's shadier, and it's for exactly that reason, because the leaves are shaped so that it sloughs the water off around that
not
drip line.
one drop of rain hit us
That's awesome.
under that tree.
That's awesome. So we show the kids this, and we say, if you come out with us, this is what you can expect. You know, in 25 years, I'll actually have this forest big enough so I can sit in the shade. I'll be 88, I think, when that happens, but we'll see. You never know. But you guys get the idea. Now, the Woolsey Fire did some incredible impacts to both Santa Monica Mountains and these local mountains. It basically moonscaped a lot of places. Up in the local hills, it's a patchwork of burning. It sort of hopped all over the place, especially around Dayton Canyon. This is what it's like up in Nicholas Flats. The picture in the fog on the left was on a gorgeous morning in 2016. The picture on the right is exactly the same spot for the photograph, and that's what it looked like after the fire. That's actually after the first rains too, and if you look, you can see all the sediment that came rolling down there.
Was one a night shot?
No, that was early in the morning.
Those trees that have been burned, absolutely dead, they're
No.
not gonna be revived?
No, in fact, we'll get to that. It's really, that's one of the things that's really cool about these oaks. In fact, we're talking about that right now. So, the picture on the left is the first tree we planted in the beginning of January up at Sky Valley. It had been living there for about a year and a half. The little plastic tags you see on it are the names of the people who were up there planting that day. We came up about 3 weeks after the fire was as soon as we could get up there. My partner, Wendy, we went to that tree first and it was burned out, clear down to the ground. All of our trees. The morning of the fire, I went up to Sage Ranch, stood on the top of the highest hill. I saw this big black cloud coming up over the hillside where our planting area was. I thought, okay, that's a year's worth of work down the tube. I talked to my partner and we said, no, we're going to replant, we're going to keep going. And we put it to the watering crew. We said, what do you guys want to do? You know, and everybody said they want to keep going. We went back 2 weeks later. Wendy broke down in tears because all our trees were dead. We came back 2 months later and they're all root sprouting. All the ones that died, they were dead, clear to the ground. They all sprouted back from the roots.
Wow.
The trees themselves, oh, actually, let me go back a little bit. Ah! Wait a minute! No! Go back! There we are. The first thing that recovers are meadows and wildflowers. The grasslands come back really fast. In fact, in this place up in the Santa Monica's, those dark hills up there are like that because they were burned out. They're all covered with green now, too. It's just that's not the grassland, that was slower growing chaparral. The flowers you see there, the purple ones are shooting stars, and you can see they look like little rocket ships. And the other flowers are actually kind of rare. They're called chocolate lilies. They're a fire follower, and a lot of times fires like this help those seeds germinate. And once they germinate and grow, then it helps refresh the seed bank for the next fire. This is what Sky Valley looks like right now. This was our planting day up there about a month and a half ago. And you can see the trees behind me and in the background here. See how they're all brown and scorched down below, but they're all green up above? Same thing over there. All that green is new growth. First time I went to the buffer zone after the fire, it was like, the whole place is devastated. It's, you know, holy crap. And we just started planting, we started germinating stuff like crazy because we figured, okay, we're going to plant 500 or 600 trees this year. The scientist I work with, Rosie Daggett, came up to look at the place, and she said, all these trees are fine. They're all going to come back. If they're still standing, you watch. And she was absolutely correct. Look at that branch over there on the right. All of those trees are either resprouting from the branches or from the roots and coming up from below. It's really remarkable. You can see what the grasslands look like today, and the oak trees. That's center top picture is what the oak trees look like right now. They were completely denuded after the fire. The deer on the bottom left are coming back, and look who's living up there. Who needs oak trees? Why does a mountain lion need oak trees? Well, the deer eat them. The deer eat the acorns. The deer live in that habitat, and the mountain lions eat the deer. So without the oak trees, there won't be any deer. Without any deer, there won't be any mountain lions. Makes sense. So, what we are trying to sell here is hope. We are not trying to sell fear. We're trying to get people out there because we want people to change the world. We have to change the world right now. So that's one of the deals. So this is a video that was made at our first planting this year at Sage Ranch. A good friend of mine, I shot a movie for him. He was a director, and he ended up being a producer and an editor. He walked around with his little handy cam, and he shot this thing. And he threw it together in like one afternoon, and he gave it to me, and it's been one of the best promotional pieces for us. Hi everybody, I'm
I'm Johnny Acorn. Yeah, that's not my real name. My real name's John Luker. I'm the president of the Sky Valley Volunteers. We plant oak trees. We are saving the world.
Very natural, John.
Please, everybody grab an oak tree.
Yeah, there's enough times. That was in one take too.
Grab one.
This will protect from ground squirrels, gophers, that'll protect from deer.
This is the cage that goes on top, and then that is secure with this.
We're going to walk through the planting area and you'll see the damage. This was a canopy 3-4 years ago, and it was so gorgeous, and hopefully in 150 years it'll be. We're finding that those oak chips especially help the trees grow because that's nutrients.
We can just get everybody to sprout a few acorns and take care of their own little trees, you know?
Here, Josh, here, you can write grandma's name on that one. On this one.
Sorry, those are all the way anyway.
These kids are the future. They're what's going to save this planet. It's so nice to see that age group getting involved in the environmental work. We've gone to the Kiwanis, probably in the world by 91 trees at a time.
I'll add the water.
Teaching our kids at a young age, this is all about toys, that there's something they can do for nature.
I will never see the forest that I'm planting grow to maturity. My grandchildren might not see it at maturity, but somebody will.
Very sweet.
So that's us, and you can see what turned out. I promoted the heck out of that one. We had 50 people show up. We put 83 trees in the ground in under an hour. That was really amazing. Without trying, without even promoting it. We've had at least 25 people turn out for every planting we've done in Dayton Canyon and around here. In fact, I've been trying to keep that small because I knew I wouldn't have work for 50 people. So 25 are turning out just, by Facebook posts and stuff.
How can we help you?
You can start helping us promote this stuff. So that is actually pretty much why I'm here now. I think this is on the agenda, the next item you're going to talk about.
I was going to talk.
Yeah, so maybe we can talk about that too. I would love to apply for one of your community improvement grants. I think that our organization really does represent the best in West Hills. And more than that, what I would like to do is get more people out here. I want to set up a separate volunteer group for Dayton Canyon. We're going to build a native garden. I've been trolling around and we've got volunteers from Emerson Unitarian Church, the West Valley Garden Club. It was great. They meet at Orchid Ranch every Monday at 9 in the morning, right? So we're over there like the day before. Oh, you gotta go meet these people on Monday. So it's like, okay, Wendy and I walk in at 9 a.m. Okay, they're having a memorial for one of their members who just passed, right? And it was great. I walk up there, the audience is 100% little old ladies. And median age, I think, was 76. And I got up and I said, you know what? If you guys want, Madeline was really wonderful, and you guys can come out next week and plant a tree with her name on it. And collectively, I heard the whole audience go, oh. So what we're doing on the 19th of this month.
You're not that far away from being
Yeah. Let's not go there, okay? I'm just happy everybody's happy, I figured never. In any case, one of the things that we're trying to do, on the 19th, we're going to be having a hike up Dayton Canyon.
It's our election day.
It's your election day. Grand. Well, after I vote, I'll come down and vote for you. I'll go up there. But we're going to have a seed collecting hike up there. We're going to start collecting wildflower seeds and other stuff. That's the stuff that we're going to germinate, and next rainy season we'll start installing it down at the base of Dayton Canyon underneath where that bridge is. probably, we got about 50% of our volunteers coming from this area. And that would be great if we could work out that
Can I ask
partnership.
some question?
Yeah, more than money, I want people, and I'd love to get that partnership. Yes, sir.
Question. The presentation's excellent. The film needs a reprint. Got that little bubble in it.
We'll talk about it.
But are you able to get this presentation down to about 7 minutes?
Sure, I can make 2 minutes.
No, about 7 minutes.
Absolutely.
Because what I'm thinking of is, we don't know about this yet, but give it to Brad. But the ad hoc special events committee is planning to do a pretty big West Hills swap meet situation as an event. And it's hopefully we'll present it to the board soon. And, but it will have, besides the swap meet, will have like the caramel corns that people buy. And so it'll be one to encourage the spirit of West Hills, the neighbors, and so forth and so on and so on. And as I'm watching this and hearing what your need is, it would be kind of cool to have you do various 10-minute presentations, okay, of this event for people because they want to take a break, they want to sit down, they want to drink something and eat something,
With benches and.
No, I'm sure I can get a space in the field market.
Oh, okay.
And have you do that in Fields Market, because they have an eating area there.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, and do this presentation. It's the ideal thing. It's the ideal thing, don't you think so?
Yeah, we get the word out,
Getting the word out to masses of people.
Yes, we, in fact, we table all the time at different events. We go to the mountain lion thing in Griffith Park every year. We always do Pioneer Day and the Garden Festival in Chatsworth. If there's anything you guys think the Sky Valley can contribute to West Hills, let me know. The swap meet sounds like a great place to put a table, and
I don't mean the table.
oh no,
I'm talking about these presentations.
oh absolutely,
Because this hit its home.
oh absolutely, it's marvelous.
And they can have.
I'd love to. And inside the Fields Market, we could get a place where we could dim the lights maybe, and project the film.
I'm not worried about it. I'm pretty tight over the
Awesome.
shopping center.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to. When is that going to be?
Sometime August or September.
Please
something
keep
like
me
that.
posted. You guys all have my contact.
We just
information.
started
I'd be
this
happy
concept.
to. Yeah.
So far, all of your presentations have been directed to oak trees.
Mhm.
Are there other trees that are in danger and perhaps should be planted?
Yes, that's the short answer. Oak trees are the keystone species around here. They're sort of like the species everything revolves around, quite literally. The other types of trees that are really hard hit by the drought and the invasive bugs are sycamores. And we would love to get into raising sycamores as well, but they're a little bit more problematic. They have to be planted in riparian areas, and right now we're concentrating on
Are those the monkey
Of
balls?
course, this is,
yes.
Those are the monkey balls,
Yeah.
like they have in Ohio?
Yeah.
California and oak trees go together.
I'm sorry?
California and oak trees go together.
Absolutely.
If you drive up north, you'll just see,
Yeah.
It's redwoods. California and redwoods go together.
well, you'll see oak trees before you get to the redwoods.
I have 3 in my backyard.
Flip a coin.
Come and look at it.
I have friends that are oak trees. I have very good friends that are sequoias, and I have very good friends that are coastal redwoods. So yeah, it's like I can even show you pictures of them too. So.
I have
Well,
3
that-
redwoods in my backyard.
Can I just go to the next item?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's move
I'm
on.
done. Thank you very much, guys. I really
Just-
appreciate it.
just-
No, no
just-
way.
Oh,
Sit
well, I'm
down.
gonna sit.
It's just a thought that I had while watching this.
No, look,
Hearing what your need is.
anything like that that helps
How
us
to
get
reach the
word out is
masses.
good.
Here again, we don't know if it's going to be done, but it's something that is being thought about.
Oh, it sounds like a great idea.
So we're gonna move on to old business, discuss environment, environmental community projects, forums, town hall meetings.
This is a natural follow-on, I think, to what John has presented, and that is, I wanted to raise the issue with the Environment Committee to see if there's something that we could be doing with an existing organization such as John's or other areas where we sort of leverage our influence. And I think some of the suggestions that Merle's come up with is excellent. I think playing the video, getting volunteers, and so on. And I think that would expand our organization. You know, for many years now, we've sort of concentrated on the SSFL, and then we get rounded up and get into cancer discussions and so on. And I think this is a very positive breakout for us if we could support it. Having said that, I think we can show the video and try to get volunteers. The question is, would the council be willing to make a donation to the Sky Valley Volunteers? Or is that a stretch?
I think there's a good chance.
There's a chance, but
Don't ask, you don't get.
yeah, there's a chance. I can't imagine it being much money,
Every little bit.
you know, but
You got $5. That'll buy 5 baskets.
I mean, the big, not big money. What is locked in are the elementary schools. They're locked into those grants. So
I think we'll be, I think
all you can
we'll,
do is,
I think we'll be okay
Yeah.
for funding this
sure,
next year, because we don't have the expense
The
for
election.
election next year. Every other year we have election expense. So next year we don't have that, and that's gonna free us up a little. Of course, it depends on, you know, how much money is requested by individual committees and how much gets approved through those
Right.
committees.
and who the board is.
But we'll know more about that.
Well, right now, like I say, money is sort of secondary in my mind. Our entire project will cost we've estimated about $43,000 to complete. It's a 4-year project, we're a year and a half into it. So far, we've spent about, I think, 23 or 24 grand, and we've got 14 in the bank. It costs about $8,000 to $9,000 a year for this organization to operate. We've got funding already in place for the rest of this year and next year. We're just
You're almost at 43.
we are almost there, yeah. We really are. So like I say, money is secondary, but I need more as people. And what we're talking about, I think trying to interact with our organization with West Hills is a natural. It really
This
is.
would be a very good test case for us, tying in with what Merle's talking about. And the other thing is, I think if we have that film, we're talking about 3 minutes, there's no reason we can't present it to the whole council and ask the public for volunteers.
Yeah,
But I
if you make a
have to
request
say, with
for,
all due respect, excuse me, I'm sorry.
if you make a request for funding, we can give you, several minutes to do a presentation
Right.
at a board meeting.
Mhm.
And that's when you make your case for asking for the funding.
Great.
So
When should I have that presentation prepared?
that's a great.
I'll do it next week.
Minutes and
Presenting it to the board is just giving them information, in my opinion. The result of which will not be to have getting volunteers to turn out. Okay? Because we don't have that many stakeholders that come there.
Right.
This is an outreach issue, more than anything else. And giving it to the board is nice, that it's information, and I'm sure they will be moved by it, okay? But if the goal of the presentation is to get more volunteers to show up on specific dates, I'm not sure that that's going to do it.
Well, that presentation would be to get money. This presentation is to get people.
So,
You see,
yeah,
there's 2 different things we can work on. I'm not going to turn down money, and I'm not going to turn down an opportunity to
Well, then
There was a
the time to do the
about getting
presentation,
money from us.
then the time to do the presentation or getting money is closer to when you're submitting the grant.
Okay. When
Okay.
should I submit the grant?
That's up to these folks here.
A date.
Okay.
Give me a date
Because
that
if
I
we
can
do
work
But
on.
if I could build on what you're talking about, if I understand Merle correctly, he and the Special events committee could set up a venue for you where you could meet a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, that's excellent, yeah. Like I say, the committees
That's what,
would be where I could interact to get the
that's what this
volunteers.
other venue would be.
Yes.
But he's asking for how to get money, okay?
Well, it's
Two different
like I say,
things.
it's two different things.
And the time to do that presentation for the money is close to when you're submitting for the grant. However, it goes to budget first, doesn't it?
Yes.
Brad, what is the best time if somebody wants to ask for funding?
Give me a date. No one has been able to do that
Well,
yet.
we don't have,
We have to have everything in by the 29th.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's for next year's.
Right, yeah.
But that's just a line item. I guess it's whether you want to try and get it in this fiscal year.
the
If there's
presentation to
committees
the,
that still have money.
presentation to the budget committee is probably the way to
Do you
go.
think we can do it later in the year?
We can do it later in the year, or we can do it for this fiscal year. It looks like there might be something left over.
I can have a grant proposal ready by the end of next week if I need
If
to.
we're gonna do it for this fiscal year, then he'd have to do the presentation at the June board meeting. And with the formal request.
Has to be approved by
There's
budget.
not gonna be
committee.
time though, how is it gonna get to the budget committee and everything else?
I think it'd be tight.
Yeah.
I don't know if the city clerk.
I think we'd be better off going
Yeah, I
for the
think-
next fiscal year.
Yeah, I think we can, let's just go for the next fiscal year, but we're putting together the budget for the next fiscal year now. Should this be something that comes in?
Under environment, right?
Any committee.
Yeah,
Submitted under
It could be
environment
any committee, we could do that.
or
It
outreach.
fits
I
our,
suppose.
yeah. No, I think it fits environment.
All I'm saying is, all I'm suggesting is that that video
has
be
to
shown
done
to the,
June.
if the budget committee approves it,
Yeah, 4 weeks.
practically the whole board's on that budget committee. So if the budget committee approves it, then it goes to the board. And the time to show that sweet video that you have
Mhm.
for money is to the budget committee.
Budget meeting
Don't
next
you
week.
think, Brad?
I think it was postponed. I think budget was postponed to that week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's the last, it's.
29th, I think it is.
Something like that,
9th?
yeah. Yes, 29th,
Of this month?
yes. 3 weeks from today.
Okay, and what would I need at that point, a grant proposal?
But that's for this fiscal
What's the
year.
best way, just for us to put in a request for it?
Well, he was just
This
talking
committee?
about that meeting, the budget committee in 3 weeks to get it out this fiscal year.
Well, either way, no.
I don't think the city
It can
council
also
will
go,
approve
no,
it.
go the following, it'll be out of the next fiscal year.
Okay, so give me a time, because this is what you guys told me, with all due respect, this is what you guys told me a year ago. They said, oh, we can't do it for this fiscal year, next fiscal year.
Yeah,
And I
no.
said, when, give me a date.
Let's-
When do I address
let's
the
put
committee
it
for
in.
whatever fiscal year I have? to
Yeah,
do it?
let's put it in, why don't we come up with a resolution out of this committee tonight? And then we can, present that, I don't know the exact procedure for that,
You need a spending request form.
spending request form, okay, so we do a spending request form. You listening, or you want?
Yeah.
Another way. So we do a spending request form, for a specific amount of money for Sky Valley volunteers. And then we, ask it to be put on the, budget committee agenda, and through a budget committee. And then after that, we can present it at, I don't know what the best board meeting would be. I think we're gonna probably be kind of, I would think the June meeting is gonna be very jammed with trying to figure out how we're gonna spend the rest of the money this year. And dealing with that. Yes, I,
So in terms of the funding deadlines, May 20th is the final date to submit an event approval form. June 1st is the final date to submit a check payment request, so meaning final
this
date
year.
for NPGs, yeah.
so we're gonna go, with next year. And, but it's just a question of which, I think we might have to do it at the July meeting. I think the June meeting might really be jammed with, I don't know what that agenda is yet.
Yeah.
But-
When do they start planning for next year's budget?
Oh, we're planning it now.
You're planning it right
Yeah.
now? Okay.
That's why we'll go ahead and we'll put in the budget request
Okay.
form right away.
See if it makes it through.
Pardon?
See if it makes it through.
If it has to make it through. It has to-
Yeah.
Priorities.
Yeah.
How much should I be asking for?
Well, it's always a good question. Traditionally, well, a lot of time, what happens is that all the budget requests come in to the budget committee. Usually, there's more money being asked for than we're going to have. And so the budget committee at that point has to start figuring out what are they going to fund and what are they not going to fund. They start cutting back the amounts of the requests from various committees. For example, the education committee always asks for more money than they expect to get because they know it's going to get cut back.
This year, won't we have carryover?
Well, for this year, yes, we will have carryover, and we don't know what that's going to be.
How much?
We have no idea. We should have a pretty good idea though by the June meeting. And that will also be factored in how much money we're going to have.
What is the maximum amount that you guys usually do? And I thought I heard it was $4,500.
There's no set maximum amount. It's just, if you ask for too much, then the board might look at it and say, this is just a ridiculous request, and kick it to the curb.
How about a targeted request, say $2,000 to pay for benches and nursery tables or a drip watering system? Something like that. I give them a physical thing that I want
That's
to buy.
always
Capital improvement.
that's always important
Okay.
to do that. So yes, so we need to be specific on what the money's going to be used for. Otherwise, they're not going to want to approve it. So if you can give us that, and we can vote on it tonight. So. I don't really do this part of I don't do the budget stuff, so I don't really.
Yeah. Well, I will say probably the maximum that we could usefully use would be about $2,000, and I can
Okay.
target that for certain stuff that we have to do on a recurring basis. So basically operational expenses, or if it's better to ask for capital expenses, we do have a few things we'd like to buy. Like I'd love to get a power auger that'll let me dig a hole without having to use a shovel.
That's.
That type of
That's
thing. maybe.
major, yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
Now, all of that land is West Hills, yes?
Yes. Everything in Big is considered West Hills.
So let's try to put this into some kind of reasonable wording. How do the members of this committee feel about putting in a budget request form to fund Sky Valley volunteers in the amount of $2,000 for the specific items that John named, and we can, from those items, we can figure out exactly the details and amounts.
I can also provide you guys.
I would feel better if I knew the exact amounts of what he wants to do, what he wants to buy. And not just arbitrarily say $2,000.
But we don't have the exact amounts now, but we can have them ready at the time that it's presented to the board.
You can also say up
Well,
to
to
and
the
not
budget
not exceeding. Say,
Well, I think that they're doing away with the up to and not exceeding thing, right? We're not
Yeah,
doing
the
that.
city clerk is very specific.
We still do
Very
that?
specific.
The city clerk is now asking. to
Very
be
specific.
Very specific, yeah.
Interesting. Well, I will find out more about that. Steve.
I'm pretty sure though that we have to, I don't think the up to thing is flying too much anymore. So, but we would have that, we'd have it narrowed down anyway. But, so I'm gonna make the motion that we take a vote on preparing the budget request as stated. And do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a condition on this. that somewhere along the line, John, somewhere along the line, on any publicity that you have, flyers or whatever, for this program, that it says supported by West Hills Neighborhood Council.
Oh, absolutely, that's what I'm asking for, absolutely.
No, but I'm talking about the visibility of the council.
No, John understands.
Oh, yeah,
no,
absolutely, that's the
no,
whole
John's
idea.
not kidding.
Yeah.
No, he makes things sound like a joke, but I know him, he's not kidding, he's serious.
And we want you to put it on a sandwich board and walk up and down the.
That's not going to happen, but I can hire your nephew to do it, okay? Oh, and let's put it this way too, we are an all volunteer organization. Every cent you give us goes to putting those things in the ground.
Yes,
Nobody collects a salary.
nobody gets paid.
Contrary to what you may hear, nobody collects a salary.
That makes
Nobody's
you do.
getting
So
paid.
that makes you guys just,
$100
so that makes all you guys just.
For the RCD for 3 presentations.
So that makes you guys just like us then, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, so,
Now, when should I have a grant proposal into you guys?
well, we have a motion on the table. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of supporting this motion? Unanimous, 4.
Bless you people. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I got
Name a tree after the council.
I will. I'll name a tree Merle if you
No,
want.
please. Please don't do that.
I think Brad's got one named after him up there somewhere at this point.
Okay, so I think this more than accomplishes what I had in mind for trying to expand the influence of the Environment Committee. But what I really like is what my friend here brought up, and that is for major events incorporating some of the environmental projects that are of interest. So I think we've had a very profitable.
Yeah. I can speak to a number of different issues too. I can talk about the general health of these mountains up here. I can give presentations on this particular area and how it affects West Hills. I could do a presentation on the field lab that does not talk about cancer and contamination. In fact, I just wanted to mention one thing about that.
That I would stay away from.
Oh, no kidding. And this is all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah, you got the target off your back right now.
Yes,
so
as a matter of fact.
Keep it that way. It's
The,
on my back now.
that same day that all those people turned out, there were protests down below. People were saying, chasing the Boy Scouts up the road, saying, "You're going to give those children cancer."
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Anyway, it was just lovely. Anyway, I talked to DTSC, and they wrote me a very nice letter.
John,
Yes.
we're being recorded, right?
Yes, I understand.
Let's not interrupt,
I wrote to DTSC, and they wrote me a letter saying there is no contamination in the planting areas at either SSFL, Sage Ranch, or Dayton Canyon. All 3 of those places are safe to be working in for people and children to dig holes and plant trees. And that's all I want to say about contamination up there at this point. I'm all about oak trees. If you have any other questions about contamination, please contact DTSC or the Boyne Company or NASA or DOE. You don't need to talk to me about it because there are plenty of people who know what they're talking about. So that's all I wanted to say. And yes, I'm glad that was actually being recorded because now it will go out to the rest of the world.
This whole meeting is recorded.
There you go.
Okay, we done with,
Yes.
all right, so,
I'm very impressed that after the fire, they regerminated and started growing.
It's stunning.
And maybe that's why they call it a sturdy oak.
That, as a matter of fact, they are mostly fire resistant, and their bark is thick enough and tough enough that unless there's a hole in it or a crack or something, the fire doesn't get
Mother
inside.
Nature knows what she
Their
does.
bark-
And
bark-
these things are stunning in
their bark is as big as their pipe.
as a matter of fact. Ooh. Ooh.
Oh,
Use a pun, go to jail. All right, Al.
can I just?
Wait, is that being contrary? Is that being disruptive? I'm sorry.
I think that Rose brought up a project that you guys are working on. It seems to me a natural would be to see if there are other committees within the council that can tie into major projects as you're proposing here.
This is a real feel-good thing.
Yeah, so it could work well.
Yeah, just so you know, the Special Events Committee is a very special committee. And
You're all special.
it's a very special committee, and we have some phenomenal things planned that we're working on and kicking around a whole bunch of ideas.
That encourage the spirit of West Hills.
Yeah, and
okay?
we're really bringing.
We're really bringing the spirit of the people that live in West Hills together.
Yeah, and we're
That's
bringing.
kind of our
and
goal.
We're bringing really the nature of the West Hills Neighborhood Council up to another level.
No, I think we fit right in.
Not targeting these demographics or these demographics, but bringing the spirit of West Hills together.
I think it's a great idea.
I think it's awesome.
All right.
We have
with
another
that,
big one.
I'm
We have a
going to adjourn the
huge
meeting.
One for next meeting.
Awesome.
8:01.